The city of Oria never slept. Bright neon lights covered the sky, and strange flying machines moved above the crowded streets. Voices echoed from every direction, but in one quiet corner of Sector 9. Something unusual waited. Two small alien twin girls, no older than 10, stood side by side, silent and still. Their skin glowed a soft blue, and their large silver eyes reflected every light around them. People walking by slowed down and stared. They whispered to each other, confused, curious, and sometimes even frightened. Why are those children always standing there? 7 days now. They haven't moved. Where are their parents? But the twins did not answer anyone. They did not beg for help. And they did not cry. They simply waited, holding a small metal badge with a human symbol on it, the symbol of Earth. Every few minutes, the older twin, Lyra, lifted her head and looked at the sky. Her younger sister, Sira, copied her silently. Their voices were soft but full of strong hope. "He said he will return," Lyra whispered. "Yes." "He promised," Sarah echoed. And so they waited, even when the cold evening wind touched their thin clothes. They waited when the city guards patrolled the area. They waited when dangerous creatures passed by, growling from the shadows. They waited through hunger, fear, and the growing darkness of night. The corner they stood in was not a safe place. Sector 9 was known for crime, missing people, and strange noises in the dark. But the twins did not move even one step away on the 7th evening. The sky changed color, turning deep purple as Oria's twin moons rose. The streetlights flickered, the air felt colder, and more people gathered to watch the strange girls who never left. Some aliens took pictures, some offered food, some simply stared in confusion. Yet the twins refused everything except the little badge they held tightly. "He said he will come back here," Alira said. "So we stay here," Sira added. The girls were young, but their eyes held something strong, something almost painful. Hope. Hope for someone who had not returned for 7 long days, every night. They slept while leaning against each other, never leaving the corner. Every morning, they woke up and looked to the same street, expecting a familiar face. But the human never came. The twins remembered his smile. They remembered his voice. They remembered how he had saved them from the falling tunnel. They remembered how he had given them the badge and touched their heads gently. "I will come back," he had said. "Wait for me here." They trusted those words with all their hearts. They believed humans always kept promises, but 7 days was a long time, even for hope. As night grew deeper, strange shadows began to move in the alley behind them. Whispers floated through the darkness, dangerous, hungry whispers. Most children would have run, but the twins did not. They stood their ground like small glowing statues. Their silver eyes unblinking, Sira slowly turned her head. Feeling something, "We are being watched," she whispered. Lyra nodded calmly. "Do not be afraid. He is coming soon," but even she sounded less sure now. Still, she held the badge tight, as if the cold metal could protect them. A strong wind suddenly rushed through the street, carrying dust and a strange mechanical smell. Lights flickered. Again, people stopped walking and looked at the sky. Something was coming, but was it the human they waited for? Or something far more dangerous? The twins did not know, yet they waited, breath held, hearts trembling. Eyes shining with hope and fear mixed together, and the city watched with them, silent, confused, and waiting for an answer. Asterisk far above the neon streets of Oria, Mason hails. Ship drifted silently among the clouds. The human engineer looked down at the glowing city below with tired eyes. He had never seen a world like this, full of strange creatures, strange sounds, and endless towers that touched the sky. But Mason had a mission that was bigger than wonder or fear. 17 days ago, he had saved 2 small alien girls from a collapsing tunnel in Sector 9. They had been trapped, screaming for help while the metal walls of the tunnel bent and cracked around them. Mason had risked his own life, climbing through the rubble, fighting panic and exhaustion. When he reached them, he remembered their small, glowing faces. Their wide silver eyes looking at him like he was a hero. "You're safe now," he had said softly, lifting them from the rubble. They had clung to him like he was their only anchor in the universe, and then he had given them a small badge with the symbol of Earth. "I will come back for you," he promised. "Wait for me in the same corner. Don't leave." Mason's voice had been steady, confident, but inside, he knew the mission ahead would be dangerous. He had to leave immediately to repair the energy core of an Orion transport station. The same station that now controlled half the city's lights. The same station that powerful syndicates were fighting over. It was a job no human had ever done before, and every step could mean death. Now, as he floated above the city in his small ship, Mason felt the weight of his promise pressing on him. He thought of the twins waiting below, trusting him without question. Every memory of their glowing hands, their trembling hope, made his heart heavy with responsibility. He checked his communicator. Static filled the device. The syndicate had been tracking him, sending small drones into the streets below. He had to move fast. The city was alive with danger, but Mason's focus was on the girls. He could feel their tiny hope across the miles, a strange connection he had never felt before. Even from up here, he could see flashes of blue, the twins' glow shining faintly in the corner of Sector 9. It was almost impossible, but Mason felt it. He whispered to himself, "They're still waiting. I can't fail them." The storm of thoughts in his mind was interrupted by a sudden alarm. A group of alien mercenaries had noticed him near the transport station. They moved fast, faster than humans or machines should be able to. Mason's hands worked the controls with precision. He twisted knobs, pushed levers, and dodged the first wave of attacks below him. The twins sensed the sudden tension, even without seeing him. They felt fear and urgency ripple across the city. Their small hands tightened around the Earth badge, and their eyes shone brighter. "They're coming," Sierra whispered. "No," Lyra said, shaking her head. "We stay. He will find us," he promised. Mason's ship shook violently as another wave of drones collided with it. Sparks flying, alarms screaming. The human engineer gritted his teeth, ignoring the pain in his arms. He had never been so determined, never so afraid, and never so connected. To anyone in his life, it was no longer about survival or duty alone. It was about two small lives that depended on him completely. He remembered their faces in the rubble, the soft blue glow, the unwavering trust. And he promised again, louder this time, to himself, to the universe, and to them, "I will come back." But even as he said it, he knew the danger was far from over. The syndicate was closing in. The city below was a maze of shadows and neon light, and every second counted somewhere far below. In the quiet corner of Sector 9, the twins waited, unaware of the storms above. Their hearts hopeful, their minds certain, and Mason Hale raced through the clouds, against time, against enemies, against the impossible, to keep a promise that had become more than just words, a promise that had become a bond across worlds. Asterisk. In the quiet corner of Sector 9, the twins stood side by side, waiting as always. The night was darker than usual, and a cold wind whispered through the streets, carrying the scent of smoke and metal. The city lights flickered above them, but their small glowing forms seemed brighter than ever. Lyra tilted her head, sensing something different. Sierra mirrored her, always following her sister without question. Suddenly, a strange sensation passed through them, almost like a pulse. It was faint at first, just a tiny spark, but it made their eyes widen. "Do you feel it?" Sierra whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes. Someone is close. I think he's alive." Lyra replied the twins had never spoken these words before. But tonight, something was different. Their small hands tightened around the human badge. The symbol of hope and trust. Lyra closed her eyes, letting the spark flow through her mind. The twins shared a secret ability. They could sense strong emotions across distances: fear, pain, hope, anger. They could feel it as clearly as if it were in the same room. Tonight, the feelings were sharp, jagged, full of panic, but also alive. "It's him," Lyra said softly, opening her glowing eyes wide. "He is in trouble, but he's still alive." Sira looked around nervously, seeing the shadows moving closer. People passing by did not notice the twins' small forms glowing faintly in the darkness. But the twins were aware of everything, every heartbeat, every tremor, every emotion. "They are coming," Sira whispered, pointing toward a group of figures slipping through the shadows. Lyra nodded, calm but determined. "We cannot leave. He told us to wait." "That is our promise." The twins moved silently, almost floating above the ground as their senses guided them. Every shadow, every whisper, every sound in Sector 9 was clear to them. They could feel Mason's fear, the cold metal walls closing around him somewhere far above the city. They could feel the pursuers approaching him, and now approaching them. The twins knew danger was closer than ever. But their determination did not waver. Lyra whispered instructions to Sira, in a language only they understood. Every small movement, every glance, was calculated to avoid detection. The shadowy figures were close now, moving fast. But the twins' secret ability allowed them to slip between walls, over crates, and through narrow alleys, their glowing eyes scanning, always aware, always alert. Then a sudden realization struck Lyra. The badge was not just a symbol. It was a link. The human's presence, his emotions, were flowing into it like tiny threads of light. "The badge. It shows us where he is," she whispered. Sira gasped, eyes wide, "but it's faint. Too far." "We have to wait until he's closer," Lyra said. The twins stood firm, refusing to leave the corner, but their minds raced, planning every next step. They could sense the human's emotions intensifying, fear turning into desperation, hope fighting against panic. A sudden noise in the alley made them freeze. A large, shadowy figure stepped out of the darkness, moving slowly but deliberately toward them. The twins held their ground. Glowing faintly in defiance, Lyra whispered to Sira, "Do not fear. We are stronger together." Sira nodded, eyes locked on the approaching figure. The figure paused, sensing the twins' strange energy. For a moment, even the shadows seemed afraid. Then the figure disappeared back into the darkness, leaving the twins trembling but unharmed. "They are testing us," Sira said, still clutching the badge. "Yes. But we will not move." "We wait for him," Lyra replied. And so they stood, silent, glowing, and aware of every heartbeat in the city. Every emotion, every danger, every spark of hope, because they knew that one day soon, Mason Hale would return. And when he did, they had to be ready, tonight. The twins realized something powerful. It was not just the human who had saved them. It was the bond they shared across worlds. A bond stronger than fear, stronger than darkness, and stronger than any shadow chasing them. And that bond would guide them through the danger ahead as the twin moons of Aurea rose high, their silver light mingling with the twins' faint glow. The corner of Sector 9 became a place of hope, a beacon of waiting, and the city itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would happen next. The alleyways of Sector 9 were never quiet, but tonight, the shadows seemed alive. Moving with a purpose, the twin alien girls stood in their usual corner, small and glowing, their silver eyes scanning every movement. They had felt the human's emotions growing stronger, but danger was closer than ever. From the deepest shadows, a figure watched them, unseen but calculating. It was a bounty hunter, a tall, muscular alien with armor black as night. He had heard the rumors about the human, Mason, Hale, and the twins who waited for him. He knew that humans were rare here, and anyone connected to them carried something valuable. He had followed the twins' strange energy for days, and now he was close. A cruel grin spread across his face as he imagined capturing them both. They did not know how much they were worth or the trouble they had brought him. Lyra tilted her head. Sensing the hunter's presence, Syrah froze, her small hands gripping the badge tighter. "They're here," Lyra whispered, her voice barely audible. "They are watching us," Syrah said, eyes wide. The twins could feel every heartbeat of the hunter, every intention, every plan, but they were not afraid, not yet. The bounty hunter stepped forward, careful not to make a sound. His sharp eyes locked on the twins' glowing forms. He reached out his clawed hand, thinking it would be easy, but the twins moved like shadows themselves. Slipping between crates and containers, their small forms were faster than he expected. Guided by their secret ability, every step they took seemed to anticipate his moves. The hunter cursed under his breath. Frustration growing. "These are just children." "But they are not ordinary," he muttered. He fired a small energy net toward them, and the twins dodged with almost unnatural precision. The net hit the wall with a loud spark. The sound echoing through the alley. People walking nearby stopped, staring at the sudden commotion, but the twins did not panic. They moved together. One step ahead, silent, graceful, unstoppable. Lyra paused near the corner, sensing Mason's emotions growing urgent. "He's in trouble. We can feel it," she whispered to Syrah. Syrah nodded, eyes glowing brighter, as if the badge itself responded to the danger. The hunter lunged again, this time more aggressive, but the twins were ready. Their connection to each other and to Mason gave them strength. Even when cornered, they moved with purpose, dodging, slipping, and anticipating every attack. The alley became a battlefield of shadows and light. The hunter's frustration grew, and his attacks became more violent. But the twins' small forms were impossible to catch. Their secret ability allowed them to sense danger before it arrived. They could feel the hunter's heartbeat, every twitch of his muscles, every plan he made, and they moved with precision, their glowing forms flickering in the darkness. Finally, the hunter stopped, panting, realizing he had underestimated the twins. "They are stronger than I thought. Almost human in their courage," he muttered. But he did not give up. He would return, and he would find a way. The twins watched him disappear into the shadows, calm but alert. They knew the danger was not gone, only delayed. Lyra held the badge tightly, her small fingers pressing against the cool metal. "We cannot run," she whispered, determination in her voice. "Yes, we stay. We wait for him," Syrah replied. The twins stood in the corner, glowing in the darkness, silent but powerful, small but unyielding. They had survived the first test of danger, but the city of Aurea, full of shadows and secrets, had much more to throw at them, and somewhere above the neon streets, Mason Hale fought his own battle, unaware that the twins below had already faced part of the danger for him. The connection between them grew stronger, unspoken but real, a bond that would guide them through the storm, through shadows, through fear, for Mason's return, for their promise, and for the hope that still burned in their glowing eyes. Asterisk. The twins had survived the hunter's attack, but their small hearts still raced. The corner of Sector 9 seemed quieter now, but the city itself held tension. Every neon light flickered like a warning, and the distant hum of machines made the air feel heavy. Lyra held the small earth badge in her hand, pressing it tightly against her chest. Syrah mirrored her eyes wide, silently waiting for some sign of Mason Hale. Then, A faint glow appeared from the badge, brighter than before, almost like it was alive. "What is it?" Sierra whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and hope. Lyra studied the badge, eyes glowing faintly. "It's him. He's trying to reach us," she said softly, almost in disbelief. The twins had never seen the badge respond this way before, but tonight something extraordinary happened. A hologram flickered into view, crackling and unstable. The image of Mason appeared, pale and weary, his uniform torn and his eyes filled with fear. "Lyra, Sierra, if you see this." His voice trembled, cutting in and out like static. The twins leaned closer, listening intently. The human's hologram was glitching, parts of his face disappearing, but his message was clear. I'm trapped. They found me. The Syndicate? Don't come for me. Stay safe." The words were broken, but the meaning was terrifying. Mason's voice carried desperation, and yet beneath it, a faint thread of hope lingered. The twins exchanged a glance, fear rising, but their resolve did not weaken. "He is telling us to stay safe," Sierra whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "We cannot. We must save him," Lyra replied firmly, holding the badge tighter, even as Mason spoke. The twins felt the danger around them intensify. The bounty hunter had not disappeared. He lurched in the shadows, waiting, but the twins' secret ability guided them, sensing danger before it arrived. They realized something important. Mason's last message was not only a warning, it was a signal. The badge carried his location, faint but real, and the twins could follow it. "We can find him," Lyra whispered, determination shining in her silver eyes. "Yes, we must," Sierra said, her small form glowing brighter as she nodded. The twins moved together, silent, graceful, and connected in a way that made them stronger than anyone who might chase them. The badge pulsed, each flicker guiding them through the dark streets of Sector 9. They slipped past alleyways, over crates, and through narrow corridors, every movement precise, every step calculated. As they moved, Mason's image continued, glitching but determined. "You must trust each other, stronger than fear." The twins felt his emotions: panic, hope, pain, but also unshakable trust in them. It was the bond they had felt since he saved them. Stronger now than ever. Every step they took felt guided, as if the city itself had chosen them to carry. This mission, they could feel Mason's pulse, faint and distant, but alive suddenly. A loud crash echoed behind them, and the bounty hunter reappeared. His armor glinting, weapons ready, his eyes filled with rage, but the twins did not falter. They moved as one, glowing streaks of light darting through the shadows. The hunter lunged, but the twins anticipated every strike, weaving, dodging, their connection sharper than steel. They could feel his every intention before he acted, and their tiny forms moved with uncanny precision. Finally, the twins reached a safe vantage point. A high ledge above the crowded streets, the badge glowed brighter than ever, pointing them forward. They looked at each other, breathless but determined. "We are ready," Lyra said, voice steady. "Yes." "For him," Sierra replied, small hands gripping the badge. And with the last pulse of the hologram fading, the twins set their course to the place where Mason Hale waited, in danger but alive, a place where their courage, their hope, and their bond would be tested like never before. Tonight, the corner of Sector 9 would no longer be just a waiting place. It would be the beginning of their rescue, the first step in a story that crossed worlds. Story of trust, loyalty, and the power of hope, because the human had promised, and the twins would see that promise kept, no matter what shadows lay ahead. The twins' small feet moved silently over the uneven metal streets of Sector 9. Their glowing forms flickered like faint stars as they followed the pulsing light of the badge. Every step carried the weight of urgency and hope. Masons. Emotions flowed into the badge like threads of light, guiding them forward. Fear, pain, desperation, all of it led them closer to him. The city was alive with danger, criminals, bounty hunters, and shadowy figures moved in the alleyways, but the twins were ready. Their secret ability let them sense threats before they appeared. A flick of movement, a sudden heartbeat, a sharp intake of breath, all warning signs. They moved like shadows, invisible and untouchable. Suddenly, a narrow alley opened before them, and a group of dark-clad syndicate scouts appeared. The twins froze, glowing faintly, calculating the risk. The scouts moved fast, weapons drawn, eyes scanning for any sign of the girls. But Lyra whispered to Syrah, "Stay calm. Wait for my mark." Syrah nodded, every muscle tense, ready to move. The scouts split, one going left, one right, trying to trap them. But the twins' small forms were too fast, too precise, too connected. They dodged crates, leaped over pipes, and slipped through shadows as if the city itself protected them. The pulse of the badge guided their steps like a map only they could see. Every narrow street and alley became a path to Mason. Every danger a test of their courage. High above, the twin moons of Aurea reflected their faint blue glow. Lyra paused. For a moment, feeling Mason's emotions intensify, fear turning into panic. "They're close to him," she whispered. Syrah's eyes widened. "We must move faster. He needs us now." The twins sprinted, their small legs carrying them like they were weightless, their determination stronger than exhaustion, their hope stronger than fear. The alley suddenly opened into a larger street where the neon lights flickered dangerously, and there it was, the sunken spire. The badge pulsed violently now, pointing straight toward the spire. Lyra and Syrah stopped at the edge, looking up at the looming structure. "Is he inside?" "And we have no time," Lyra said, holding the badge like a beacon, their small bodies tensed, preparing for what awaited them. From the shadows, the bounty hunter appeared again, silent but menacing. He had tracked them this far, anticipating every move. "You shouldn't have come out here, little ones," he said, voice low and cruel. The twins didn't flinch, their eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Stay out of our way," Lyra said calmly, her voice small but unyielding. Syrah mirrored, her tiny fists clenched. Ready to defend the promise they had made, the hunter lunged, fast and deadly. But the twins anticipated him, moving as one, their secret ability letting them predict every strike. They darted around corners, over debris, and through narrow passages. The hunter cursed and followed, but the twins were too clever, too fast, too connected to the bond that drove them. Finally, they reached a hidden side entrance to the sunken spire. The badge pulsed stronger than ever, a clear signal that Mason was near. The twins exchanged a determined glance, hearts pounding. "Together," Lyra whispered. "Together," Syrah repeated, their voices like a promise as they slipped inside the dark, towering base. The city outside seemed to hold its breath. The hunt had begun in earnest. Every step brought danger, but also the hope that they could reach Mason Hale, alive, and when they did, nothing, not shadows, not syndicates, not fear itself, could break the bond that had brought them together. Across worlds, the twins moved silently, glowing faintly, ready to face whatever awaited inside the sunken spire. For Mason, for the promise, for the hope that burned brighter than the neon lights of Sector 9, and the city seemed to whisper. Behind them, watch closely. Something extraordinary is coming. The twins moved through the dark corridors of the sunken spire, their small feet making almost no sound as they followed the pulsing light of the badge. Every step carried their hope. Every heartbeat carried their promise. Mason Hale was near, trapped but alive, and the twins would not fail him. The base was filled with guards, strange machines, and the hum of dangerous energy. Shadows stretched long along the walls, moving with silent menace. But Lyra and Syrah were ready. Their secret ability guiding them, they could sense the fear, the hesitation, even the breath of the guards before they moved. Every obstacle became a part of their path, every danger a test of their courage. Finally, they reached the central chamber, dimly lit by flickering lights. And there he was, Mason Hale, tied and weakened. Surrounded by syndicate thugs, his eyes widened as he saw the glowing twins enter. "You came," he whispered, voice trembling with relief and disbelief. "We promised," Lyra said softly, holding the badge tightly. "Yes. And we never leave our promises," Syrah added, small but firm. The bounty hunter and syndicate thugs moved quickly, trying to block the twins. But the girls were ready. They moved as one, their glow brighter now, weaving around every attack. Their bond with each other and with Mason made them stronger than any adult or machine. The guards hesitated, confused by the strange glowing twins. Unsure of what powers they held, the badge pulsed violently now, projecting Mason's emotions, hope, fear, desperation across the room. The twins reached him, their small hands untangling the ropes with surprising strength. Mason's heart pounded as he realized they had found him against all odds. "Lyra. Syrah, you saved me," he whispered, tears in his eyes. "No," Lyra said softly, "you saved us first." "Now it's our turn," Syrah smiled faintly. "We waited for you." 7 days. In the same corner, the syndicate lunged, weapons raised, but Mason and the twins were ready. Mason grabbed a fallen energy staff. His hand steady despite exhaustion, the twins glowed brighter than ever, their psychic bond flaring through the chamber. Energy and light collided with the shadows, pushing the guards back. It was not brute force, it was courage, unity, and the power of hope. The syndicate scrambled as Mason fought with precise strikes guided by the twins' warnings. The girls used their secret ability to predict movements, guiding Mason past danger. The bounty hunter tried one last strike, but the twins anticipated him perfectly. A synchronized movement, and he was thrown back. Defeated, his armor cracked. Finally, silence fell over the chamber, broken only by the twins' soft breathing. Mason knelt, overwhelmed with emotion, holding their small glowing hands. "I promised. And I came back," he whispered. The twins smiled, tears shining like starlight in their eyes. "You did," Lyra said softly. "We knew you would," Syrah added, voice steady. Full of faith, for the first time in days, the room felt calm. The sunken spire no longer seemed dark and terrifying. The city outside shimmered through the broken windows. Neon light reflected on the twins' glowing forms, and for a moment the world felt simple. A human kept his promise. And 2 small aliens had waited, brave and loyal. Mason lifted the twins in his arms, their small bodies glowing softly. The bond they shared across worlds, species, and danger had carried them through every shadow. And in that moment, it was clear, courage, hope, and trust could defeat even the darkest night. The twins, the human, and the city itself had witnessed something extraordinary. And the promise kept in that corner of Sector 9 would be remembered forever. The corner where they had waited was no longer lonely. It had become a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of bonds. And as Mason, Lyra, and Syrah stepped out into the neon streets together, the city watched silently, knowing that sometimes even the smallest beings could change the fate of worlds. Asterisk.